Welcome to Catholic Views. I'm your host, Renae Kranz. Today on the show, I will have Deacon Bill Radio here to talk about a special ministry he is part of, and also to talk a little bit about the three states of the church, one of which is us, called the Church Militant. So it should be an interesting conversation. He's a first-time guest with me, and we had a lot of fun. So I hope you'll stick around for that. First, we have Dr. Bergwald. Biblical Bites with Dr. B.
Okay, there we go. I'll take that. Thanks, Renae.
That was terrible, Bill.
Save that, Bill. Save that, Bill. No, keep that for all time. So, Renae, what's today?
I hope it's the 19th Sunday in Ordinary Time.
Why do you hope it's that?
Because I don't want to be wrong.
Oh, well, now, maybe we need to talk about that some other time. We don't have time.
No.
It is indeed the 19th Sunday
good.
Ordinary Time. And what have we been talking about lately?
We've been talking about the Bread of Life Discourse. I assume it continues going because we haven't hit the end of it yet.
We have not hit the end.
Yes.
So Bread of Life Discourse from
John.
In case folks
John
haven't-
6.
John chapter 6. Because why are we reading about John, though? Right from John.
Because Mark is the shortest gospel, and so John fills in the parts where Mark kind of loses
so
it.
Cycle.
Loses it.
So well. So you're doing so well until Mark loses it. He's the gospel. It's inspired by God. But yeah, so we're in year B of the 3-year Sunday cycle, which is mostly from Mark's gospel. But yes, as you just said, Mark's the shortest gospel. So the church, because Mark, I guess, apparently forgot, he lost it.
Yes.
He's losing it, or whatever you said. So we read from John here, sort of the late teens of the Sundays in Ordinary Time, from John chapter 6 in particular. So this is the third Sunday we're reading from what you correctly described it as the Bread of Life Discourse. Again, the setting, and just to refresh, because Sunday comes and by Monday I'm like, wait, what was the reading again? So where we are, John chapter 6 starts with the miracle of the multiplication of loaves and fishes. They want to make Jesus king. We didn't really talk about that a couple weeks ago. Jesus doesn't want to be made king because even though he is a king, they're thinking wrongly about different kind of king, different kind of Messiah. So he crosses over. I think we skip over the walking on water. I don't think. Did we?
I think you're right. Yep. Now maybe it's read during the week, but on Sunday it's not. Okay.
So now Jesus is in the synagogue in Capernaum, and something that's important going into today's gospel. He's talking. I don't know if it's exclusively, but we know that at least much of the crowd are his disciples. Now, not just there's the apostles, but beyond the 12 apostles, the disciples, people who are at this point kind of following Jesus, suspecting, wondering that he's a prophet or maybe more, especially after he's starting to do things like these crazy miracles, right? So, but last week he starts talking about how he's come down from heaven. So we pick up this week, John chapter 6, verse 41 through 51 is the reading. And it begins this way. The Jews murmured about Jesus because he said, I am the bread that came down from heaven. And they said, is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph? Do we not know his father and mother? Then how can he say, I have come down from heaven? So I just want to pause there. I love times like this in the Gospels because they're important for me. So often I'd be like, I've got a pretty good handle on who Jesus is. But do I really? And so these passages for me are a good reminder to do I really know the real Jesus, or is the Jesus who I know a figment of my imagination?
Oh, man.
A false idol, if you will, that I've created.
Right.
Yeah, through my familiarity with, in my case, theology and so on. But still, is it the real Jesus? Because isn't this Jesus, the son of Joseph? Don't we know his mom and his dad? Well, I know who Jesus is, but do I really? Do I take time to get to know the real Jesus? Jesus answered, said to them, stop murmuring among yourselves. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draw him, and I'll raise him on the last day. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draw him. We only get to know Jesus because God sends the Holy Spirit into our minds and our hearts and draws us to him. Figuring out Jesus. So this is so part of it too. Do I really know Jesus? Oh, maybe not. I need to figure him out. Not going to happen on your own.
Right.
We need the power of the Holy Spirit to come to know the real Jesus. So I'm going to share one more thought, but I want to invite our listeners, ask the Father to send the Holy Spirit that we might really know Jesus. And maybe you already know him well. I'm not saying that everything you're thinking about Jesus is false.
There's probably always more we can know.
But there's always more that we can know. Okay. And then now we're building up now in the next couple of weeks. Jesus starts talking about, I am the bread of life. Your ancestors ate the manna in the desert. They died. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh for the life of the world. So it's going to get really real here. And I want to, again, what I said at the beginning, disciples. Mm-hmm. So these are people who have been following Jesus. And we start with, well, we know who Jesus is. Right. So these are disciples who think they know who Jesus is. We know his mom and his dad. And he's going to start challenging them about the more truth of who he is and what he offers them. And it's important that we're attentive to their response and what that means for you and me.
Yep. Great stuff, Dr. B. Thanks a lot. Can't wait for next week.
You bet.